Hi, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Kaylee and I'm a homeschool mom of two. My son will be going into 9th grade and my daughter into 7th. Today I'm going to share with you the curriculum that I am planning for my daughter's 7th grade year for the 2023-2024 school year. Now, just because this is curriculum that works for my family doesn't mean that it will work for yours, but I hope that getting a look at some of this curriculum might help you be able to decide if this curriculum is right for your family. It is also just a plan, so most likely things will change as we go through the school year, as that tends to happen each year, and not all of it will be done every day. So if it looks like a lot, just know that not all of this stuff is being done every single day. There are also a couple of things that I haven't decided on for sure yet, and I will talk about that as we go through the video. Now, to start with, I will share with you what we're going to use for Bible for my daughter. We have been using Christian Light Education Bible, and we used level 5 and part of level 6 this past year. Level 5 only had 5 booklets and level 6 has 10. They are these little booklets like this that have about 15 lessons in each, and they have quizzes and tests inside of them. Each lesson has a story, and then it has questions to go with it. So for instance, here's lesson 1, and it tells you which Bible passages the story comes from. And then it has worksheet pages that they fill out. We generally read the story together, and then they fill out the worksheet pages each on their own. My son will be branching off next year to do something a little bit different, but my daughter will just continue with the Christian Light units. And level 5 and 6 are the Old Testament, and level 7 and 8 will be the New Testament. We will continue working on this throughout the summer so that my son can also work on finishing some of the level 6 before he starts what he's using for his 9th grade year. When my daughter finishes level 6, then we will just move into level 7, which is set up basically the same, though I think it's maybe a little bit, the worksheets and stuff I think might be a little bit higher level than the level 6. So that is our Bible. Next up is science. So this year I will be splitting my kids. Oftentimes we've done science together as a family, but since my son is going into 9th grade this year, then she is going to not be able to keep up with the level of work that he needs to be doing for high school. So I let her pick what she wanted to study for science this year. And my daughter loves animals, so of course she picked something that went with animals. So this is from Apologia. It is Exploring Creation with Zoology 3, Land Animals of the 6th Day. Comes with the textbook, or you can buy it individually, but I bought the textbook set that comes with a notebooking journal. So she will be reading the textbook and doing some of the activities that it has in here. We're not very good with accomplishing experiments, but I glanced through here and a lot of the stuff looks like things that she could do on her own that didn't need a lot of material for this one, which I like. And so she will be able to do some of those things on her own. And then the notebooking journal, which she'll be able to fill out as she reads the chapters. They have notes pages so that she can write down the things that she's learning in the lessons. It also has things like copywork pages. If I can get it open here. Copywork pages and crossword puzzles to help review each lesson. It also has in the notebook some pages that will give you some optional, like it says explore more, give you some optional activities or books. I'm not sure how much of that we'll use at this point. Science is really not our strong suit, so just getting through this I'm pretty sure will probably be good for us. Next up, we will be using Matthew C. She is currently in Epsilon, which is the fractions level of Matthew C. Matthew C is a mastery-based math program, so each level focuses on a particular type of math. So they have an addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, then fractions, and then the last one is decimals and percents, and that's the last one before they start pre-algebra. She is about 2/3 of the way through Epsilon right now, and she will continue working on that some through the summer. If she doesn't finish it, she will obviously continue that until she does, and then I went ahead and got Zeta, which is the decimals and percent level. I did consider switching math because there are a few things about Matthew C that I'm not a huge fan of. We switched to them a couple years ago whenever I felt like she really needed that review on multiplication, and she did like it, so we've continued with it. And I did decide we will just continue with it until pre-algebra, and at that point we will probably move to Denison for pre-algebra, and I have a separate video on Denison algebra, which my son is using now, if you want to look into why we want to switch to that. So this one is decimals and percents. This is the student workbook, and I have the test workbook. It will also have a DVD. I don't currently have it with me to watch the lesson videos and the textbook that has the answer key and stuff in it. So that is what she will be using for math for 7th grade. Next up is history. So for history, we are going to use Guess Hollow Geography and Cultures. We were originally going to use the high school version for both my 9th and 7th grader, but since Guess Hollow recently updated their junior geography to match up with the high school level geography, I decided to go ahead and purchase the junior version for my daughter because it has several books and things that are for a little bit lower level. For the high school level, I had not planned on her reading all the same books necessarily that my son would, because she's not quite as high level reader as he is, and just also sometimes the content in some of the high school level books she is not ready for yet. So I decided to go ahead and get the junior geography curriculum. The junior geography curriculum, it comes with a schedule, and it tells you week by week everything to do, and it has a book list, so it's got lots of different book options. A lot of them are reference books, some of them are nonfiction books, some of them are fiction books, and it will schedule them in for you. And it also has links to games that they can do online. It's got maps they can print and do. They have activities, and they have a lot of videos. And the junior geography has a lot of printables for like lap books and things like that, which I think my daughter will enjoy doing a lot more hands-on things like that. And then they have some websites that you can look up each week. This is the main thing that you get with the Guest Hollow curriculum. They also give you a big book list of books that you can use. It is a buffet, so not everything is required. You pick and choose what works best for your students or what's available to you at the library and things like that. Now, the high school curriculum does come with a workbook, a printable workbook. I decided that my daughter would not be doing the workbook because a lot of the books in it I wouldn't necessarily be having her read. Now, the high school level geography uses an online textbook that has videos and stuff embedded in it, and the junior geography doesn't use the textbook. However, I still want my daughter to participate in that time together, reading the textbook and watching the videos. So instead of doing the workbook for her, I created kind of my own notebooking pages. So I just made these and made them for each kind of week. I mostly have them stuck together here by week. My kids like to just have a packet of papers that they can stick in their clipboard for the week, and they know what all needs to get done, as opposed to having it all in a book that they have to carry around spiral bound or a binder. So I just made some pages where she can fill out and just write down things that she finds interesting as we go through the curriculum with my son. So there's a map, write 3 interesting things she learned. This is for the Middle America section. In here she can write about the Mayas and the Aztecs as we study those. And like for the country, Mexico, learning about the climate, Cinco de Mayo, Day of the Dead, and a place for her to write any other interesting facts. I also made some pages that she can fill out and just draw a picture of a landmark that she finds interesting. She likes art and drawing. And then also I made a page for wildlife so that she could draw pictures and write some facts about animals. She loves animals, and so I figured that is going to go well with kind of the zoology, so she can also write, about the animals that she learns that lives in the different areas of the world. So basically, I did kind of something similar for all of the sections of the textbook that go with the high school geography. So I won't show you all of the books that we will be using because I don't have all of them. A lot of them are going to be from the library. But I'm just going to give you a quick glance at some of the spine books for the junior geography. This is the Atlas Obscura, and it has some really cool pictures and just some really cool information about different places around the world. Especially, I think it's kind of like things that are really cool but maybe you've never heard of. A lot of these things I haven't heard of. My kids have already been interested in this book and looking through it since we got it. This one is People in Places. This is also scheduled in the high school curriculum. I went ahead and got this one when I was planning the high school because this one is more recommended for both if you have younger students doing it versus I think there's like a National Geographic one that's more high school only. So this is just different people groups around the world. It's got some really cool pictures in it. This is Prisoners of Geography, Our World Explained in 12 Simple Maps. There is a Prisoners of Geography scheduled in high school. It is more of a textbook, like it's just reading like chapters with text, and this has maps and lots of little bits of information, which looks really cool. These books are also scheduled in the high school, and this is the Where on Earth Atlas, which also has a lot of cool maps in it and lots of little bits of information. And then this one is an optional book, but I got it because my kids love animals and they've already been looking at this one. Anytime it's laying out on the table, they've been walking by and like, oh, stopping to read it. So this is the Wildlife of the World. It's a very big book, but it's got really cool pictures and stuff about lots of different animals in there. So that is for our geography, and I am going to try to do a different video where I will show you kind of how I plan to use the geography together, the high school geography with the junior geography with my kids. Hopefully I will be getting that video done sometime in the summer. Now the geography uses a lot of literature and books, so I am planning to use the literature from geography as part of our English language arts credit. I don't have a particular curriculum then for reading, as we are going to use that, but I did buy something for myself to use to help with the literature. I wanted to be able to talk about the books in the geography and talk about literary analysis and things like that with them. It's not something that I'm super comfortable with on my own, so I bought this called Teaching the Classics, and this is from the Center for Lit, but IEW also sells it, and it is a course, like a seminar for the parent or teacher. It's got DVDs in here, and I have not watched any of these yet, but I plan to do this over the summer to watch the seminar. And then in the book, it goes over each thing. And it also has lists of like Socratic questions that you can use to discuss the books. So this way you can use any book that you want and turn it into a literature curriculum, as opposed to having to buy something that uses a very specific set of books. So that is my plan for literature. Now for spelling. My daughter has struggled a lot with spelling over the years, so we've tried many different curriculum. We've tried All About Spelling, Spelling UC, we've done Spectrum Spelling, we've done several different things, and none of them have seemed to really click. Spelling UC has probably been the best of those, but she doesn't like it because of the amount of writing. So I am going to try this by IEW, which is called Phonetics Zoo. This is like 3 levels of spelling in one. In the kit that I bought, it has all 3 levels, which I guess any of them have all the levels on the cards. The difference is in the audio levels that you buy. But I did not buy the audio. I bought the budget package because the audio was pretty expensive, and so with the budget package, it comes with this teacher book, and it has all the lists of words in here for each lesson. So the difference is, so I'm going to read the list to her, and then she will write it down, as opposed to listening to it on a CD and doing it independently. Then I think it works where I read the list, she spells it, and then I read them with the correct spelling, and she writes them again with the correct spelling and double checks which ones she got right and wrong, and does each lesson until she gets it 100% correct twice in a row. So this has all the levels. It does also have a placement test in the back, which I did for my daughter, and she just barely squeaked into the level B. So we're going to go ahead and start with the level B of this and see how she does, and see if we feel like we need to go back to level A. But each card for the lesson has words for level A, level B, and level C. And it's actually supposed to go up to like high school level, so it's not it's kind of like elementary, middle, high school level of words, I guess. It's not intended to be geared towards super young children. So it's kind of geared for students that are maybe middle school or high school that need some help with spelling. Each card does have a rule or a jingle that tells you about whatever phonics it's using for this rule, like the IE, or this one is AI and AY. So it also came with this little set of spelling cards, which just has the little kind of lesson rules or jingles on the backs of those for the kids to review, and they can create like a little zoo with their cards if they want to. So that's what we are going to be doing for her spelling this year, and hopefully that will see some spelling improvement. I am also going to do this vocabulary. This is one of those things we've started before and we just didn't really have time to fit it in, so it got set aside. So we will try it again. This is for grades 4 to 5, but I think that's fine. She doesn't really have a strong vocabulary, so grades 4 and 5, it's not a big deal for her to be doing that. For this, you use a notebook like this, and then they just cut out the things and color them and use it as an interactive notebook, so they can put the definitions behind each of the words. And it has root words and then a lot of words that go with that. So this is what we are going to try for vocabulary, and we'll see how it goes this year and see whether or not it's something that we actually get to, but it's on the list of things to try. For grammar this past year, we used Fix-It Grammar. She used the nose tree, which is level 1, and she liked it, so she wanted to continue with Fix-It Grammar. So I went ahead and bought the level 2. Comes with the student book and the teacher's manual. We really like the new edition of the Fix-It Grammar because on the student pages it has a list at the top of the page with what all you need to mark and fix. So that helps them to do a better job of making sure they're getting everything checked off. So they mark the sentence and then they rewrite it at the bottom, and this is really simple, like maybe 10 minutes a day. So that is our grammar. Now I do not have anything to show you for writing because I haven't made a final decision on our writing for next year. My daughter struggles a bit with writing, and I've tried a couple different things recently, and she really struggles with what to put on a page. So she took an IEW writing class a couple years ago. I guess it was the year before last. And she did really well with it, but she doesn't really like the aspect of going to a class so much. So I just downloaded the 3-week free trial of the IEW structure and style. And so we're going to spend the next 3 weeks going over those free lessons and see whether we think that's going to be a good fit for her. Especially it is very expensive, it's kind of hard on the budget, so I really want to make sure it's what she will really stick with before I invest the amount of money for that program. So that's what we're leaning towards right now. We'll see how it goes after the free trial if we decide to go with that or not. One other thing that we do that I guess kind of goes along with English and language arts is poetry memorization. This is also from IEW. This is the teacher's book. I bought the budget package also of this, which means I do not have the audio CDs for it. So we just read the poems ourselves. I read it aloud with them usually the first several times, and they repeat after me, and then they actually memorize them pretty quickly. We finished level 1 this year. They memorized all 20 poems in level 1, so we will move into level 2 and do the poems for level 2. This comes with a printable student book, so I printed off the poems just that we needed for the certain levels. So I just added level 2 in here, and this is their list of level 2 poems. And as they work through level 2, they will also review the poems from level 1. There are 19 poems in each level, and then the last poem is a personal selection. So they enjoyed picking their own poems to learn at the end when they finished level 1. My son picked Jabberwocky, which actually turns out is in level 2, but then he'll already know it. He can pick a different one. And then my daughter picked True Story by Shel Silverstein. So they actually did really well with this, and I'm looking forward to hearing all the new poems that they learn next year. So next up is Spanish. My son is going into 9th grade, so we are going to do Spanish for his foreign language credit. And my daughter also would like to learn Spanish, so she is going to join us. This is one thing where I haven't also decided exactly what we are going to use. I have spent hours researching, and I have some books from the library that I've checked out just to see kind of what the complete Spanish step-by-step and things like that look like to decide whether or not it's worth purchasing. I also have this flip-flop Spanish that my sister-in-law had, and she let me borrow it to see whether or not this is going to work for us. We are going to try this out, maybe mess with it a little bit this summer and see whether or not it's a good fit for us. It has a teacher's manual here, and it comes with a USB for audio. And then it also comes with these Spanish flashcards that have pictures and the words on the back, and you use them together to make sentences and things like that. This says that it can be used for like 2 years, but I feel like maybe that's at a more elementary level. This is supposed to be a family style of learning. It says ages 3 to 93. I definitely want something that's going to, move us along a little bit quicker, especially with my son needing, high school level credit. So we will try it and see how it goes. If you have any recommendations for Spanish curriculum, I would really love to see them in the comments below. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that I've seen recommended is a little bit out of our budget. Things like Homeschool Spanish Academy, we can't afford for those kinds of classes. And I really like the idea of being able to do something that we can do together as a family. I do have a minor in Spanish from college. Unfortunately, it wasn't really very good classes, so I am not fluent in Spanish, but I do have at least enough of a background in Spanish that I feel like I can help them along with the Spanish curriculum, whatever we decide to use. And I may end up piecing it together with different things that I find. So those are our 7th grade curriculum picks. If there's anything in this video that you'd like to take a closer look at, then let me know in the comments below, and I will try my best to do a video on those curriculums so that you can get a better look to see if those are a good fit for your family. I hope you've enjoyed seeing the picks that we've chosen for our 7th grade year next year, and I'd love to know what you've chosen for yours. Thanks for watching. Bye.